Hitachi Data Systems, or HDS, is wholly owned by global giant Hitachi Limited, a company with approximately 400,000 employees and revenues well above $100 billion annually. HDS Chief Executive Jack Domme sat down with me recently to discuss how being part of such a giant has helped HDS thrive when others are struggling during tough economic times. He shares his thoughts on what makes HDS different. Jack, the term green has gone from a buzzword to a global movement. Talk to us about how Hitachi plays in this world.
Well, power and green is a part of our DNA. We have been in the power business ever since the start. We started Hitachi based on power. We started with the very infancy of creating power, whether it was steam, whether it was nuclear, whether it was gas powered. We have such a demand for the things we build around power. It has created this incredible momentum to then look for offshoots around how do we use these technologies, for example, how to cool a data center. So how many other companies do you know that can build a data center from top to bottom? From even the elevator, even from the finger vein security technology that allows you to get in the door, or the finger vein security that allows you to log on to the computer itself. We're looking at how do you cool the data center, or how do you cool the actual, whether it's a mainframe or whether it's a storage component or a server component, how do you actually cool those components so that you can turn the air conditioner down in an existing data center? Hitachi comes up with that kind of technology. That is what is our bread and butter. That is our DNA. That's what we're good at. When you compare or cross over the R&D that was used to create the electric or the hybrid car that's used in Toyota or Lexus, we take that same electrical motor and we apply it to a spinning disc, for example, that we can spin down and start up based on the access needed. So those are simple examples of how we have now cross-pollinated our R&D strength across a $120 billion company to apply it to an IT sector around storage, and utilize that and leverage all of that functionality into what's needed in a particular vertical or a particular business going forward. Yeah, Steve, it's funny that people have latched on to this green economics or the green environment. I think at Hitachi, we've been living this for decades. This is a part of our DNA. This is what we do. And so it's funny that when we see competitors who are not even in those industries talk about efficiency in power, efficiency in green, the return on the green economy, when in reality, we've been living that, we've been building for it, we've been researching this for decades. And what you see today and the advantages that you see coming from Hitachi in the likes of the auto industry or the power industry or now the IT industry have been envisioned and built upon for decades, and you're seeing a series of product enhancements or product announcements, solution announcements that are integrated and researched to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars to enable this industry to take advantage of this today. So it is kind of funny. We're actually happy. We're happy that the world is turning green. We've been living it for a long time. We've been building for it for even longer. And everything we do, even inside of Hitachi, is about green. Even from the standpoint when you look around these office walls on what we have generated from this company to conserve energy, to create the energy as well, and to turn a less efficient form of energy into the most efficient form of energy. It's really impressive to see that those wind turbines that you see when you're driving down the highway, all those wind turbines, most of those are created in Hitachi. It's kind of funny, somebody labeled us as the BASF of the world. We make things better. Sometimes our name's not on everything, but the engineering core and the science of that is strewn throughout products you would never imagine come from Hitachi.
Jack, most companies are reacting to the current economic crisis globally. What makes it different being at Hitachi?
So, Steve, we're fortunate from being Hitachi, being a long-term company that really has a long-term view of things. And sometimes during these tough economic times, you'll see companies react in a very tactical, almost emotional way, whether it's to make the numbers for this quarter, whether it's to do it by laying off people, for example. We've been able to I think achieve our success by good competent, by good performance management, by good culture. We've been able to sustain these ups and downs in the economy and look at the long-term view of things. And not only from being a good company, being a good guy perception, but we also want to take market share. Make no bones about it. We're in this to compete. And so when I can attract and retain the employees I have, retain the partnerships I have, just think about it. When I come out of this economic cycle, this down cycle, and if I can come out whole with all my employees, with all my partners intact, just think of the potential that we have in 2010 and beyond to take market share, to actually advance our momentum as far as research, as far as what the customer gets to achieve. I think if I were a customer, I'd hate to see a company laying off 10% of their workforce, because who knows what was going on there? Who knows how much R&D was lost in that? We're pretty steady in our R&D. We don't cut our R&D. We continue to invest in the futures. Some of what makes us real today is that long, steady investment in R&D that we're prospering from today. And our customers, quite frankly, are prospering from that today. So when we look at this time, it is our size, Hitachi, it is our diversity. We do have several businesses that are doing extremely well. We have power. Who would not want to be in power these days? Especially if you're in the efficiency power, if you're in the hybrid power, if you're in the green power, if you're in all kinds of areas where power now is the talk of the town. It's the talk of the inauguration today. And so we are one of those companies that's positioned for that. We're also taking a lot of that leverage, and we're in a sector, the IT sector. And so with that, it's fantastic. We're in the mechanical sector. So now we've just won that new contract with the Olympics about our accelerated trains, our new hybrid trains. And so now you look at the diversity that we're bringing to the table and the ability to transcend that kind of go-to-market strategy with the ability to take that R&D to the market. It's really a very diverse, maybe recession-proof kind of company going forward.